we'll go ahead and get started. If you're using it for the first time, you'll probably get some basic workspace here on the right hand side. What you can do is create your own workspace, name it whatever you'd like. And if you look at mine, I like to have my inks on one line, my color changing on one line, my layers on one line, strokes, and Pathfinder character on each of its own line. I'll go into that one here shortly. We'll go ahead and start with a blank one. All right. What this is basically setting up all the tools. It's like going to be your palette. Everything can be found in this Windows tab. All the tools and different ones that they have, you can select it. We'll go ahead and do what's not on there. Transform. All right. So everything here is piled up in a default fashion. You can drag in and out from sections. You can pull each tab, drag it in, drag it out wherever you'd like. If you'd like to create a new line, select the tab and just drag it. You'll see it hover in a section. That'll merge it, or you can go to its own line and it'll create its own line. What I like here is using mine. Anytime that I open up a default project, it will show my workspace and my palette. I'll show you the difference compared to if you open up a file directly. So we'll go ahead and start with a file opened up through Illustrator. New canvas. We'll go ahead and do a new file. 1920 is going to be a good size for us. What I recommend is if you are going to be printing, your end game is to have something printed or using ink, whatever, t-shirts, etc. You're going to want to start in a print file. It'll have it in CMYK mode. If you're doing anything that's going to be displayed through a screen, you can just keep it on the default web, recent, art, illustration, all the same, RGB color. All right, we're starting off with a file, blank file that we opened up through Illustrator. It's going to have my workspace on there. And now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to open up a file from my computer. We'll go ahead and take this car here, open. All right, when I open that, it is going to open up my workspace, but it will not open up any colors. It won't have a palette of colors. So if you have that issue, all you have to do is come to the bottom here where it says your swatch libraries, select it, and it'll give you all the different ones. All you have to do is open one up. We'll go ahead and just do some basic, and it'll give you somewhere on the screen, this menu will pop up. You can resize it here. And then what's good about it is you can press these arrows and you can go through every single one. You can open each one up individually here, or you can just fast scroll through all of these, preferably up to you. If you want to get it out of your way, you can drag the tab and include it up here, and you'll have your colors, and you can scroll through it right there. Now we'll go back to our artboard here, and we'll go ahead and place that image on there. And we're going to do a bunch of things with this image. We'll go ahead and cut this image here, and we'll place it. All right. Now we need to zoom out. Control minus Control plus is your zoom in, zoom out. We'll go ahead and resize this. Resizing. Select any corner. You can resize just by holding down your mouse button and resizing, but it doesn't keep it in proportion. So keep it in proportion. Hold down the shift and then select your corner, and it will anchor to the opposite side, and you can drag it where you need to be. What I like to do is I always like to work on an artboard, relative white canvas. It helps me see things clearly. Preference is up to you. If your artboard, if you have a specific size you need to do, you can come to the left here, select your artboard tool, and what you can do is, we'll zoom out again, is you can create or edit your artboard size. So I have 1920 pixel by 1080 pixel. That's your standard television size. If you hold down Control R, you'll get your ruler on both left and top XY axis, and you can right click on it and it'll give you your different units. For ease of use, we'll just go ahead and do inches. And now we have our size at the top here, which is 26 inch by 15 inch. So what I'm going to do is just keep it there, not change it. I'm going to go to my picture. When I hover over the picture, you can see this X on it. That X tells me that this file isn't fully written onto the actual file itself, meaning that it's linked wherever it's saved on your computer. If you do anything to that file on your computer, move it to another folder, or it gets deleted, it will break the link between this image, and the image will be missing from your design. So what you got to do is select your image and embed it here at the top, and it will go ahead and embed it. Now the file is directly patched in and written into your design file here. Always a good thing and good practice to save. Control S at all times is a good thing to do. Control S, it'll save it. We'll go ahead and do our test design and just save it wherever. You have options. You can save it as an Illustrator file. We'll go ahead and do that again. Save as, and you have Illustrator file, PDF, EPS. EPS and AI and PDF, my top three that I use. If you do anything with Cricut or any of those vinyl cutter softwares, you can save it in SVG. But basically, this program will allow you to do all different formats. If you want to do anything exporting, you can do export, and exporting will give you your options, your JPEG, PNG, most used on there, and then if you do any of AutoCAD, you'll have your files for AutoCAD. Now what we'd like to do is resize this to do different things with it. We'll go ahead and enlarge this and see that the image doesn't quite fit my boundary. So one of two things: if I want to maintain the image and not cut away anything from it, but I want to adjust my artboard size, I can highlight the image, go to Object, Artboards, and I can fit it to the selected art. So now it just created that artboard and made it to size. We'll go ahead and undo that to keep it back to where it was, and we'll go ahead and reduce the size of this. Now let's just say I wanted to create a circular image or an oval for it and include it on some kind of display. So I'll go to my shape tool here, square, rectangle, ellipse, polygon. Go to the ellipse. To do a circle, if you want to free draw it, you can draw a circle and basically decide what shape. Hold down Shift, it will give you a perfect circle. And if you hold down Shift and alternate, it'll allow you to create a circle in place without it freely moving. For this one, we'll go ahead and do a oval shape. That works well for us. That should give the whole car. Okay, could be a little bit bigger. Alright, remember Shift, and that'll keep it in the middle. Now I want to basically use this shape to cut out everything that is not within its outline. So I'm going to select both of these, Control 7, and it will trim away everything that's on the exterior and leave everything visible within the interior. Now if I wanted to adjust it while seeing it, I can double click on here and move it up and down. Voila. Move this around here. I could add font, etc., etc. But let's go over some basics that we went through to get to this process, and we'll go ahead into fonts. I want to create a billboard poster. So I will go into new file and print. I want it to be inches, and my billboard poster is going to be 24 inches wide by 36 inches high. I do intend to print, so I want it to be under CMYK color. And create. There we go. So now this is my beginning poster. I want to make this billboard poster with a black background and then do the design on top of it. So I just want to give it a base coat, and what I'll do is create the shape of the poster itself, which is going here. It'll give you a little highlight showing that it's anchored there, and come down, drag, and release. So now I have a square. It's colored white and it has a black outline. The thin color below, if you want to select that, select it, and now that one's active to be color changed. I do not want color there, so I'll select none. Go back to my fill color, and as you can see, my square that I just drew is selected, so I can go in there and select through all the different colors. We'll go ahead and put black. We have some other options here. We'll keep it there. Okay. Now let's just say I wanted to have the car. We'll go ahead and place, and let's do this one. Go ahead and place it here. We'll go ahead and embed it, and then I am free to do what I want with it. So let's do a car party. Now we can insert a font. Go to the left, select your font tool. It'll open up your toolbar. We'll go ahead and select a font size. We'll start off with 100. I guess that's my default. And here it'll pop up to the right. If yours starts off small, it can be, let's just say 25. Depending on the size of the picture that you already have currently open and what you're working with, it may pop up like that. You can manually input the numbers that you like, or what I like to do is just go to the select tool and grab a corner while holding down shift to keep it in proportion and just expanding the size. Another thing that is cool to do is if you want to duplicate something, you select it, hold down your mouse, hold down Alt, and then drag away. You can drop it anywhere you'd like. If you like to keep it in line, good for patterns, you would also hold down shift. Green line popped up. That means that it's constraining it to the left hand side. You can go up and down, left and right, or even in 45-degree angles. For your step and repeat is a good tool. So we'll do 2 of them. And what I'm going to do is two methods. I'd like it to say cars using this picture, and I'd also like to say party. So I'll go ahead and change one to party, and we'll do it in a white color. And we'll take this and we'll change it to car. Now we'll show you a fancy way of doing mask clipping, basically creating cuts out of special shapes, letters being in particular. We'll go ahead and enlarge this to a good size. We'll make this decreased to a good size, and we'll line this up, change the color for you for clarity, and that looks good. Alright, now as you can tell, right beneath the words, there's going to be a line. Font mode, which is editable. You cannot change or give it any kind of special effects or do any kind of modifications to it while it's in this mode. So what you have to do is right click on it and create outlines. This will convert it into shapes, and that'll be once you go to that point, you cannot change the font or edit the characters. You can undo the create outlines and do any edits, but once you do any kind of modifications down the road, you can't go back and edit the letter. So make sure your spelling is correct, or you'll have to create a letter and fit it to whatever modifications you've done, which could be a hassle. So another good trick is the copy and place function. So Control C is your copy, Control V is your paste. If you copy and paste, it'll just paste it in a central location. We don't want that. We are trying to use this car as the background or the color fill for these letters here. So for each cutout, we need 3 pictures. I'm sorry, for each cutout, we need a picture. For 3 letters, we need 3 pictures. So we'll select it and Control Copy. We'll copy it for you. And then we need 2 more for the additional 2 letters. So we'll do Control F twice. And now I have 3 copies in place. As you can see, 1, 2, 3. And then what I'm going to do is I'll select this C. It's in group mode. So I need to ungroup these. Right click, ungroup, and then select the letter and select the first image. Control 7 will make a clipping mask as you can tell. 2, 3. There you have making a clipping mask using letters. Something complex, but you can usually use this same technique on any kind of shape. Might come in handy on larger pictures, or if you want to crop out something instead of having your basic square shapes. This is a good method to do it with for other video effects also I've used in the past. We'll go here and increase the size of this, and it's kind of hard to see this. Maybe I want to add a outline to it, some white outline. Different options I have here. The fill, the inside of this is going to be a clipping mask, so it's not going to have a color assigned to it, if you can tell from the left. But the stroke, you can still adjust on the stroke. So we'll go ahead and give it a white one. You can't tell if you get off of it, you can barely see it. It's there though, right there. What we're going to do is increase the size of this. We'll go to our stroke menu on the side and increase the weight. And as you can tell, it's getting bigger. We have options here. If you want it to evenly spread on both sides, you'll have the option for align strokes, which is going to be align the stroke to the center. They're grayed out on this one. Let me see. Oh, grayed out because of the clipping mask on there, so we're pretty limited. But on any other one, if we go to the party, this one's still in edit mode. We'll create the outlines and give it a red stroke. Increase the weight of it. And right here we can see we can do a even spread of the stroke on both sides, or we can do just interior, or we could do exterior of your actual object lines. That looks pretty good right there. We'll go ahead and repeat this. Here we have 2 graphics. The one on the right is going to be your basic JPEG. So this is something you would find on your phone or something pulled off the internet. Similar to a PNG, it has a background, a white. I can drag it and you can see that this is just a square image. And on the left here we have a vector image. This one's actually been digitized, and each segment, each different color, each portion of it is its own shape, and each of it is its own layer, and can be stretched to whatever size is needed. The main difference between these two is when you enlarge this, on a standard JPEG, the more you enlarge, the more it becomes pixelated. It doesn't have the information to fill in the gaps of what color needs to go where. With a vector graphic, you can enlarge as much as needed, and no matter how far and how much you zoom into it, it will always retain that crisp line. It has mathematical data inputted with it. On your flat image, there's nothing. You can zoom in, but it just doesn't know how to register colors the more you increase the resolution. So to go back to where we were with this, we want to create, let's just say, a sticker. We want a sticker that has a white outline, and we want a sticker that goes straight up onto the edge. And we'll do it for both of these images. Starting with the image on the right, the JPEG, we're going to select it, and we're going to do an image trace. Illustrator decides this is the best option that it can fit for it, and it tries to create a vector digitized image of the design. Not the best quality, but it can help us get a outline shape for it. So what we'll go ahead and do is change it to grayscale. You could either do it up here from the top toolbar, or if you have it into your workspace, it's on here on the right hand side. We'll go ahead and change this to grayscale, and it gives us a little bit better outline. It shows the shadows more as being gray with the outline being black. That'll help us down the road. And also here on the right hand side under the options, there is an ignore white feature. We'll go ahead and select that, and it'll remove any white from the actual final product. And then once it's all said and done, go back to the top to expand, and we'll press it. Now it's gone, and it's created every layer by color of what it found on your drawing after doing the image trace. We'll go ahead and go to the right. It's basically doing the same thing as here. With this gold, we'll pull this out. This is one layer, one object shape by itself. We'll go to this one, same thing. This is one object layer by itself. A little different, but same principle. What we want to do is, this is a little bit more tedious, is we want to go in and we want to delete all this here. So I will double click. This is all grouped into one. If I want to go into it directly and be able to choose layers by themselves, I will double click on it. And blue bar appears at the top. That means I'm in isolation mode. I'll go ahead and zoom in and do a little bit of legwork. Delete these. Delete this. Select. Delete all these. I believe I got most of it. Alright, so now we're left with everything on the inside of what my outline potentially could be. Then what I'll do next is I will highlight everything. I don't need all this information here in the middle. I don't need all these shapes. What I'm trying to get is an outline of this. So I will go ahead and I will go to my Pathfinder on the right. If you don't have it showing, you can go to Window and press Pathfinder. It'll open up your tab, and I will go ahead and select Merge All. What is this going to do? It's going to flatten all of these shapes into the basically the largest shape, which is going to be the outline. Highlight everything, right click, and you'll go to this option saying Release Compound Path. What this is basically, show you real quick. Let's do a letter. And a good one that always works is the letter O. Alright, something super simple. We're going to create this into an object. Okay, so a compound path is basically a line. With this O, if you look at the bare basics of it, how do you make an O? You make an O by creating a thick line and then removing the interior for your O. So right here, if you were to select it and ungroup it, you can see that you would have a release compound path. So what it's saying is you release it and you're removing the cutout. The line is still there, the data, but you've released it saying that your object doesn't need this, it can show this, and there it is by itself. It's something a little tricky to get into, but you'll learn it down the road. So for this one, what we did was we deleted some of our colors here, and then we've highlighted everything, we've merged it, and then we're left over with the remnants. We will right click, release compound path. Everything's been released, no constraints, and then we merge one more time and everything is gone. Now this won't be an exact method, it doesn't give it to you. If we line it up, it's about as good as we can get to it. This is just relative example for this. You won't always be able to get that, and for something as simple as an outline, it kind of does the job. So once we're done with it, we're left with the outline. So what we'll do is we will go to the image, and I have used it, so I will get another one. All right, we'll come here, enlarge this. All right, and I will drop it down. If you can see the layers, my image that I just dropped here is above. I need it to go below, so I will drop it to below. And because I didn't copy my image from the get-go, made a mistake, I have to just kind of eye it. So what I've done right now is I have the outline shape that we made with the image trace tool, and it's sitting right above another copy of the JPEG that we started with initially. So once we get there, we're basically using this outline shape that we just made to cut out the shape from our image that's sitting behind it. I'll drag this out here so you can see for better clarity. And here's our picture. Here is our shape. Now, two things. You're going to need two of these shapes. One is going to be for your outline, and one is going to be for your cut path, your clipping mask. So you're going to go ahead and select this. You're going to Control Copy, C, Control C, and then you want to paste one in place right in the front. So Control F. We're going to select one of those and then select our image, and we are going to make a clipping mask, which is Control 7, and voila, there you go. So basically what it's made is it's taken the shape that we made and it's cutting out the image from below it. So we'll move this. Remember, we have our secondary layer just sitting here. Don't move it yet. You could tell that right here we have some white lines at the top. It's a little pixelated, but we have some white lines here at the top. What you can do is you can double click on this and you can kind of enlarge it a little bit. You gotta play with it, but this is things you have to do sometimes. And see, it gives us a little bit of a blur. Don't like that. Alright, so what we can do is we can go to the shape itself and we can give it a stroke. We'll do black and we'll increase the size of it. Looks good, but as you can tell, the color on it is not so good. So we want to match this darker color, so we'll select it, and you have an eyedropper tool on your toolbar. Select it, and then you can go in and you can actually select the color that you want, which is right here on the corner edge, and it selected it. But remember, because it's a clipping mask, you can't use a fill color, but it's there. So all you have to do, if you go to the left hand side where you see your two colors here, all you got to do is press this arrow and it'll swap the color to the stroke, just like that. Oh, didn't mean to press that. Eyedropper was still on. It's very finicky. It will catch your background. So now we have a stroke. You can see it's right there. So we want to increase it a little bit. So we go to the stroke weight at the top here or on the left, and we'll increase it, increase it, increase it. All right, it has some pointy edges, so we'll give it a rounded corner, one of your options. And there you have it. That is as good as an outline as you can get. Right there. Now we drag everything underneath it is the secondary outline that we pasted, so we'll work with that. I'm going to go to the right hand side where my image is, and it's going to be this first clip group. I want to keep it in place, but I'm going to go ahead and hide it, and we'll hide it. It's still in place there, just can't be seen. Eyeball on, off. And I'm going to go to the logo. Not logo, my apologies. I'm going to go to the outline. Next, while it's selected, we'll go to Effect, go to Path, and Offset Path. You want to create a border. And on this border menu, your options, If you're set in your pixel on your ruler, you can change it by that. If you do not want to do it this way, this will go based off of your ruler settings. If you don't know how to change that, you press Control R. That will display your ruler on the left and right hand side, and you will right click and put it in inches. I know for most stickers with white outlines, what we do is 1/8 of an inch, which is 0.125, and then miter, round, basically sharp edges, sharp corners or rounded off corners. Depends on your design. And voila, it shows you what it's going to be, which this is your original. This is what is gonna turn into. And then if that's what is you like, all you have to press is Object, go to Expand Appearance, and it will redraw the model line to the exteriors of it. We know that this is going to be, a white background, for instance. We'll change the color, fill color to white, and then go back to our drawing, unhide it. It shows that it is there, and we'll drag it out to the white to show the white background. And there you have it on the right. You'll have a JPEG image. You've image traced it to obtain an outline, and then you have a secondary layer of that outline that you've given a path to give a white border. Now that we've seen how to do an outline for a JPEG image here, we're going to go ahead and delete this and be done with it and go on to something more crisp, and it's going to be a vector image. So what we're going to do is we have our base image here. We are going to go ahead and duplicate it a few times. What you can do is the Control Copy and Control F. It'll duplicate it right in place. Or you can take your layer here and just drag it to the square with the plus sign and release, and it'll create a copy. Drag and it'll create a copy. Good if you want to duplicate an entire copy and instead of having to select everything, but we're working with the easy file, no background objects, so good to go. What we're going to do is we are going to hide 2 layers and work on 1 layer at a time. As you can see, there's just one. And what we're going to do is we want to focus on just this outline of it. This is really all that we need. So I want to select everything but that and delete it. So I'm going to drag, select, and then holding down the shift button, this is going to deselect. I'm just going to press this black outside. Oh, see, it deselected everything, which tells me that everything is grouped. I need to go into isolation mode, double click, blue bar appears at the top. I can individually control things on here, as you can tell. So once again, drag select everything, hold down shift and deselect the black outside. And that leaves me with everything else selected, and I'll go ahead and press delete, and that deletes everything for me. And what I'll do is go to go to effect, and I will go to path, offset path. With stickers, 0.125 and 1/8 of an inch is always a good sizing for your border cut. We'll do 0.125. We'll keep it with crisp corners on miter and okay. If you're not happy with the path that you just made at 1/8 of an inch, what you can do is select it and go into the appearance tab here on the right, and you'll see your offset path. This is any modification that you make to a certain object. You'll have your appearances here. You can select it and it'll let you adjust that specific one. We'll go back, we can double this and just do 1/4 of an inch, and there it goes, updates the size, and we are happy with this. We'll go to object, expand appearance. This will readjust the model line to the outsides, and this will be your new shape. We know that it's going to be a white background, so we'll go ahead and select it and change the fill color to white, and then go back to our layers tab and show everything again. Can't really tell, so we'll go ahead and drag it out, and we left it locked. select everything, drag it out, and there you have it. Now you have a white border. You can go ahead and save your file. What you can do is save a file with a white border, go in, delete that, and then save it again without, and now you have 2 files. Easy done. And that's going to cover it all on making an outline for sticker purposes or any kind of cut project.